You ever feel trapped? In a job, a relationship, even just stuck in your own head. Well, today we're diving into this incredible Buddhist parable. It's about a prison we build for ourselves, one that isn't held together by iron bars, but by something much, much stronger, our own desires.
And it really boils down to this one question, one we don't often say out loud, but it kind of defines everything, doesn't it? Why do we hold on so tightly to the very things that cause us pain?
Well, this parable, it suggests the answer is hidden inside this really strange, kind of unsettling story. It's about a man, a woman, and a literal chain. And the real mystery isn't just how they got chained together, but why they stay that way.
Okay, so let's get into it. This is where the story kicks off, with a situation that, honestly, makes zero sense at first. It's called the paradox of the chain. So, meet our two main characters, Thung Munch and Nuk Phagwade. And get this, they are physically chained together with this heavy iron chain by their own teacher, and they are miserable. They can't stand each other, they're always fighting. The guy, Thung Munch, he thinks, this is simple, let's just cut the chain and walk away. But, and this is the core of the whole thing, the woman, Nuk Phagwade, even though she's just as miserable, she absolutely refuses to be set free.
And that's the big puzzle, right? If she despises him, why is she so terrified of him leaving? Why on earth would you fight to keep the very thing that's making you suffer?
The master's answer is, well, it's brutally simple. For her, the pain of this toxic bond is actually less scary than the idea of being completely alone. You know that logic? It's something we can all probably recognize. Having something, even if it's miserable, can feel a whole lot safer than having an unknown nothing. So, how did they both get so stuck in this twisted logic? The story explains it with this really powerful metaphor. It's like each of them is holding a single leaf right up against their eye.
Their views are totally warped, but in completely opposite directions. The man, Meng, he's so focused on the pain he's in right now that he's completely forgotten any good times they ever had. All he can see is suffering. But the woman, Nuk Phagwade, she does the exact opposite. She's clinging to this one little good memory from the past, and she's using it like a shield to block out how awful things actually are today.
And that's really the core teaching here. Each of them is holding this tiny leaf, this one single obsession, so close to their eye that they literally cannot see the giant mountain of truth that's standing right there in front of them. So this really makes you question what's holding them together. And maybe what holds us together in our own lives sometimes. Is it really love? Or is it something else entirely? Something more like a selfish craving? The parable actually has a name for this feeling. Thamai, which basically means craving. And let's be clear, this is not love. It's this selfish attachment that's born out of that deep fear of having nothing. The text calls it a bottomless pit, a need that you can just never, ever fill.
Just look at the difference here. This thamai, this craving, it's all about what can I get? It's impulsive, emotional, and it just leads you into this endless loop of suffering. But true wisdom, that's the total opposite. It's about seeing the whole picture, being rational, and that's what leads to real growth. They're just two completely different ways of looking at the world.
And back in the story, you see exactly what this craving leads to. It's brutal. Their arguments just escalate and escalate until it becomes actual violence. Each of them is so desperate to get what they want that they just end up making each other's lives a living hell.
Okay, but this brings up a pretty tough question. What kind of teacher chains two people together? I mean, seriously. But the story argues that there's actually a shocking but really profound logic behind what he did.
See, the story is there clear. The chain is not a punishment. It's a tool. It's a way to force them to learn a lesson through, direct and pretty painful experience.
Okay, so here's how it works. Step 1. They once promised each other they wanted to be together forever, for eternity. Step 2. The teacher says, okay, you got it, and the chain forces them to actually live the reality of that wish. And step 3, they quickly discover that being stuck together 24/7 isn't bliss at all. It's a nightmare. It's suffering.
But just when you think things can't possibly get any worse, the story throws in a massive twist. Turns out that physical chain, that was just the beginning. Now the chains start to multiply. Think about it. A physical chain, one made of iron. Well, you can break that. You can cut it. There's a way out, right? A physical solution. But then, a second chain shows up. One you can't see, but one that's 1,000,000 times stronger.
Nakpa Dairy is pregnant. Now that is a chain not made of iron, but of responsibility, of guilt, of biology itself.
And that's a whole different level of problem, isn't it? How do you break a chain made of things like that? All of a sudden for Thung Munch, that iron chain on his wrist probably feels like nothing.
He's just completely broken. He believes there's no way out. So he goes back to his teacher. But this time, he's not asking for a key to the lock. He asks for a different kind of key, a different way to be released from all the pain. He asks for a gun.
In this act of pure desperation, it pushes the story to its really tragic ending, and it reveals the final, devastating lesson of this whole parable about what it really means to escape.
So he's convinced there's no escape, and he decides he's going to end his own life. But Nakfade's craving, her absolute terror of being left with nothing, is so strong. In one last, horribly possessive act, she makes sure that they won't be separated, not even by death. And with one gunshot, their whole miserable cycle is finally over.
Now, obviously, this is a really dark story, and it's not meant to be taken literally. It's an allegory, right? The iron chain, the baby, they're all metaphors for the really powerful, invisible attachments we have in our own lives. The prisons we build for ourselves and then just refuse to leave.
And so, the parable kind of flips the script and turns the question back on us. It forces us to look inside and ask ourselves, really honestly, what invisible chains might be holding you right now?